This is the Zipper, and this mob is one of the mobs in the list of the worst mob winners. Before we get into the video, I just want to say, this video is going to have two parts. The first one is going to be the worst mob votes, and the second one is going to be of what Mojang can actually do about this mob vote. But before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe and like, because it's free and you can always change your mind later. But now, let's start. First of all, we have the first ever mob vote that Mojang held in 2017, and they wanted the community to be associated with the mob and not just themselves. And this mob vote was the only mob vote so far with 4 options. But let's talk about the mobs in this vote. Mob A is the barnacle, who lives underwater, and when it sees you, it will drag you down with its tongue and hold you there until you drown and die. Mob B is now known as the Phantom, but Jeff named it the Monster of the Night Skies. And of course, we all know the Phantom starts attacking you if you don't sleep for 3 or 4 days. Mob C is the Grey Hunger, who hides under sand or ground, and if you drop your items with enchantments in it, it'll get rid of it. Finally, Mob D is the Wildfire, also known as the Hovering Inferno, who is an upgraded blaze with a helmet and with shields, and has the ability called the Fire Barrage, where it shoots out a ton of fires and can summon blazes. The Phantom ended up winning, and now known as the most annoying mob added for mob votes. The second mob vote ever held was in 2020, and this time there were only 3 mobs, and that's how it is from now on, only 3 mobs. First mob is the Moo Gloom, who is basically like a mushroom, but the red got swapped with yellow, and instead of having poppies on the top, it had a sunflower. Second mob is the Ice Alger, which was the only interesting mob shown with doing something. It lives in ice mountains biomes, and if the mob or you get closer to each other, the Ice Alger summons a small ice surface on top of you and drops it and freezes you. The third mob is a Glow Squid, and it glows. Kinda. And it drops a glow ink sac, which is only used to glow up, your signs. And of course, the Glow Squid won because of a dream, and now known as the most pointless underwater mob vote winner. 2022 mob vote was the 3rd mob vote Mojang held, and this time it was pretty interesting choices. Mob 1 was the Rascal, who hides underground, mostly mineshafts, and it loves playing hide and seek, and it can probably give you enchanted items or weapons like a pickaxe. And I was really excited about this mob. I was so excited that of course I voted for it. This mob was probably going to be a game changer. Mob 2 is the Tough Golem, who's basically an LA. And I think Mojang purposely wanted this mob to get voted out because they made it so similar, but they at least could have made it a tiny bit different. It can hold let's say more than one item, and it's tameable or something. Bro, Mojang, what are you doing? Mob 3 was the Sniffer, who slams his head in the ground and sniffs out pointless flowers or seeds. But of course, this mob is so pointless. No one why? Literally, why would anyone want this mob, right? Yeah. Here's the thing with mobs. If you ever see one of the most stupidest mobs in the mob, that's literally gonna be the winner. That's why mob votes are so that's why mob votes are horrible. The most pointless mob is going to win, because the Sniffer is so pointless that I don't even see or hear anyone talking about it. And now, of course, it's known as the most pointless mob in the overworld. Oh my god, this had so much suspense. This is this year's mob vote. Mob 1 was the Penguin, and it just made your bow go faster. But when the Penguin got voted out, Yan said that the frogs ended up in the game, even if it lost, but I don't know what it lost. I don't remember a frog being in the mob vote, but it still got in the game. So does this mean the Penguin might eventually get added? Mob 2 is the crab, who a lot of people loved, and it drops a crab claw that you can use to build farther away. And like, I don't know how that makes sense, but here's the thing. Mojang never clarified that it can also destroy blocks. Like, we know it could place blocks, but we didn't know if it could destroy blocks. And yeah, like, this mob is probably like my favorite one, because like, I literally voted for this mob, and like, I hoped so much that this mob would win. And here it is. Mob 3 is the armadillo who won the mob vote, and it drops an item that you can use to craft a dog armor. Why? So that was the worst mob votes, but now we're going to talk about what Mojang can do, because a lot of people are starting to hate the mob vote, and in the live chat of like the 2023 mob vote, like the only thing I basically saw are people typing in one word, and that was hashtag stop the mob vote. But this is what Mojang can do. There are like two options. The first one is just announcing the mob and adding it. Like, there you go. The second is they can still continue their mob vote, but in a different way. So I'm going to give an example here using the latest mobs in the system. So let's say the armadillo got 94%, the crab got 67%, and the penguin got 24%. So the armadillo won because it had more votes, but instead of voting out the mobs that didn't win, like the crab or the penguin, and instead of it just like never seen of or mentioned again, they would add it later. And just so like let you know, this is just an example. So like, since the armadillo had 94, the armadillo will get added in 1.21. The crab got 67, which is second place, so the crab would get added in 1.22, which is the mob or update after the armadillo. And the penguin got last place with 24%, so it would get added in the update after the crab, which is 1.23. So that's what Mojang can do. But here is my question for you. Do you think Mojang should listen to the community and stop doing mob votes? Do you think Mojang should listen to their chats and listen and read one comment, which is hashtag stop the mob vote?